Greetings. This is me, Zara Bazaar. Who will help me? I have used reason. Because God in Surah Azab ayat 6 has made a mistake, but they don't see it, and so the Muslims don't see that as a mistake or a contradiction to Surah Azab ayat 4, 5, and Surah Mujadila ayat 2. And they give reasons through the tafsirs and all this. And it's very difficult to even prove that the Imams were lying, that the Imams have lied, Shia Imams have lied. So this, and that Prophet Muhammad has lied. Now, all we have is things, they can turn and twist things around, twist the truth around. But it's very, very clear. I would say not even use that tafsir on this. Where it makes sense, I would use it if it's justifiable. But you see, when you make a law for some, like you shouldn't even call your adopted son your son. It says very clearly in the ayah, but they make changes, like they say that you can call someone your mother even if she's not your mother out of respect. But here it very clearly says he has not made your adopted sons your real sons. Surah Azab ayat 4, and then it goes on to say in the 5th ayat, oh goodness, so very stubborn Muslims like Salahuddin would not give up until I think this is the way they like to kill people. Because if not execute them, then kill them like this, get the weakness. They're dying already. Kill them like this. There's no way I'm coming to this religion because it's got many mistakes and misguidance. It's not a true religion, I can see it. The only thing is that I'm unable to give words to it. So if you want your women to do a job, go for it. Go for your women. Let them do a job. But don't impose your religion on apostates. Why are you imposing your religion? Through every tactic you can, but you don't use reason, you depart from reason. Okay, you're taking the tafsir and showing me that it's okay to call the mothers out of respect, someone else's mother, your mother. But here it very explicitly explains. In other words, those are, you can, what does it say here? Call them by their fathers. It starts like this. Call them by their fathers. Even if you bring a tafsir on this, see if you are justifiable with your tafsirs and hadiths. Call them by the fathers. Because you see, you've looked at Surah Azab ayat 6 and you cannot believe it. You have a cognitive dissonance on this, that the Prophet is more, that Quran ayat could have a mistake in it. God could make a mistake. Your one true God could ever make a mistake in this. So you see, your tafsir people, even when we're saying Prophet Muhammad was a false prophet, was a liar, and we have to seep through the Quran ayats because he's one of a kind Satan. Then you see, directly, if you just give us the hadiths and the tafsirs and say we cannot examine it to see if it is a false thing or if it's a true thing. We cannot question it. And if we do question it, you will come back to giving us the hadiths which are combed out, fixed on this part. It comes with the Prophet Muhammad is a true prophet. Allah never lies. Truth has come, falsehood has vanished. You give the tafsir. When I say there's prejudice in the tafsir, it doesn't go with these two Quran, 4, 5 Quran ayats. Call them by the names of their fathers. That is juster. That is more just. Right? Okay, it says it's more just. You would say it's okay to call them, like you can take a risk and it's more just, but then what happens if, can you, even if here you're saying, okay, it's okay to call them, but can you give this part, even if it's put more just, juster, more just, can, can you give your name to your adopted son? Like if it's recommended, is it recommended? Like if you do, it's okay, but if you give them the father's name, it's more just in the sight of Allah. So why did Prophet Muhammad remove the name, his name from Zaid? If it's recommended, leave it. It's more just. But if you don't do it, I mean, you won't get punished for it. That's what you're saying. That's what you take from this ayat, right? It's more just in the sight of Allah. And that's why you say that calling someone your mother who is not your mother is okay. But if you do not know their fathers, then they are still your brothers in religion and those entrusted to you. And there is no blame upon, meaning they are your brothers in religion, not yours. I don't think you should be calling them sons. I think it's better if you call them brothers in religion or those entrusted to you. Call them like that, not your sons. And there is no blame upon you for that in which you have erred, but only for what. So here call them. You see, God has made this even the scent. It's not like there's someone who's deceiving you. You don't know. You're not sure what to do now. But then the tafsirs come. Then Rasulullah explains it. Now, can Rasulullah call Zaid, my son, after having married, after this ayat coming? Can Rasulullah tell Zaid, my son? At least here in this example I can catch. After having married Zainab bin Josh, can he still be calling Zaid, his son, as my son? Think about it. It's sick. I mean, wouldn't Allah, if the polytheists did this, do you think Allah would accept that? When the polytheists were giving water to the pilgrims, he says it's not equal to believing in one God, Allah. And when they were maintaining the Masjid al-Haram, he said, no, it's not equal, the same thing, in that same ayat. Surah Tawbah at 19, right? So your cultures, the way you're indoctrinated, it's not coming from a universal God, the truth. You see, like this also, you marry your adopted son's wife, and thus Allah has changed all this. Before this, Prophet Muhammad had given Zaid his, hadn't he? So God said, had given Zaid his name. So you see all the mistakes here and there I'm trying to correct and show you, so you can see that you cannot take this as a authentic, like what in the sight of Allah, this is authentic, this is true. Allah speaks the truth. Right? Okay, Allah speaks the truth. So let's say now about the adopted sons. Was it really so wrong? Was it so wrong to take the adopted sons as their own sons? Like treat them? What are they going to do with their own sons that they would do? Uh, I mean, just not marry their women, their wives, their daughters, their ex-wives. That's all. Otherwise, what is so wrong in adopting a child and taking him as your own son, giving him inheritance and calling him son, and taking him, treating him? What is wrong in that? Allah here says, you've erred, but only for what your hearts intended. But your hearts intend, even the polytheists, their hearts intend good. It's not like they've married a woman, a slave girl, and it's they're taking someone else's son as their own son, meaning they treat him like their own son. Affection. You see, when Allah says, Allah is the one who creates affection in the hearts. Uh, what is wrong in taking someone's son as your own son? Right? What is wrong in that? They know he's not their blood son, but the bonding, you can have a bonding with someone, treat him like your son. What is wrong in that? Tell me. But for to even marry, it's okay, because in your religion, Allah allows you to marry married women from what? Whose husbands were polytheists, right? For you, this is okay because Allah has allowed you. For you, Allah is the one true God, and this is ethical. For some other person, this may not be ethical. And also prohibited to you are all married women, because this verse starts from the beginning. That's why I'm reading the bracket one. There's a previous verse which means that also prohibited to you are all married women, except though, that's why I'm reading the bracket one, except those your right hands possess. Now, for some women and men, it may not be right to possess women. Maybe you can give examples of these monotheistic religions, but for polytheism, maybe it's not right, or some other person, it's not ethical to take someone else's wife, even as war captives, and marry them, and take them as what your right hands possess, and then even marry them or temporarily marry them. It's not right to take someone else's wife during war, after war, and say, because their morale is low. This is the decree of Allah upon you. and lawful to you are all other. So the decree of Allah became that now, save captive girls you can marry or possess as your right hands, and if they give you a son, a child, they become your your full-fledged wives. You can make them. God knows what the conditions are. But here, only this, except marrying how, what, for you it may be right. For Allah, this Allah it is right. It is not right for some people, right? It is not ethical. I wouldn't say that this is right. Words are not coming to me. Like this is someone, even though they are your adversary, right? And they have fought you, leave their women alone. Leave their women alone. Why marry them or have them as your right? This, war captives, and marry them, except those your right hands possess. What you get from war captives, women. So Allah can left and right change laws and bring new laws, and for Him this is ethical. But what the polytheists used to do, no, even their good deed like giving water to the pilgrims, He's made what a clever. You see, I see the cleverness of Allah. I see a very clever humanitarianly. I can give you examples against Jews, the ayahs. They don't go very well. Those who worship trees and things are bad, are nijis, are mushriks. He hasn't sent any authority for them. They're just following what their forefathers were doing. So sometimes he's even done, I told you to, brought out laws that are unethical. Whether it's war captives, you take them, they are married women. The husbands may be alive or dead. I mean, killed by you, but you can take them. I mean, that annuls the marriage, he says. He says. But on the part of the adversary, their women, doesn't annul the marriage for them, right? They may be still widows, they may be thinking, or our husbands are still captives. We're still married to our husbands. So for you, it is unethical. I mean, it is ethical. And these things don't make sense to me, where the sons, mothers. So there's a clear contradiction, but you see how your Allah and the tafsirs, even Rasulullah makes changes. Like you can now break oaths. You can break oaths because you would, and even that some Hindu was like saying, Hindu master, where I go to, I don't know who on top is influenced. Even if it comes from the Hindus, that this guy is really crazy, like Abu Bakr, right? So saying that no matter what, I will not break my oath. I mean, he wasn't talking about Abu Bakr, so they're listening to me here, and I'm not even going to their satsangs anymore. So better not to share, because the Muslims have infiltrated the thoughts. So are you going to take slave girls as married women? That's ethical, right? Because Allah said so. Let's see if this Allah is a true Allah. So you say any which way but lose with the Muslims. Either you will kill me by keeping me disturbed and making me come here again and again. This is your plan to disturb the living daylights out of me. You know, when a person is very, very disturbed, overexhausted, starts talking a lot, can't rest, you won't give the chance to that person to rest. You are actually doing zulm and you think you are punishing the person. It serves the person right. Your God wants to burn the people in hell and do such bad things to them forever. Their skin will be coming up, but that's okay because you feel it is your true God. But that's not okay for another. That's not humanitarian. That's where I start to think that another law must come up. Like the soul should be guided by Allah. Surah Sajda is also something which Allah says, which you can hold on to your Allah. I'm going to hold on to my nothing. If there's nothing to hold on to, I'll be crying for help because I'm weak now. They've made me very weak. But I'm not holding to Jesus. I'm holding to, maybe you won't like my, this thing. Because you see, then you will harm uh, you will try to get me through the Hindus, Buddhists, Zen, Qigong masters. Surah Sajda, Ayat 30. They will be told, and Ismaili was right, don't do this. Muslims will, why care? He was so wise on, he's like, so that I know by experience I thought of this. That why didn't Allah guide every soul? It would have saved them hell. Instead of testing them, why do you need to test the weak? Because you see, here Allah says, I've created man weak. There's another ayat which says, man has been. So what does it mean in other words? Man is weak, right? Man has been. Did man make himself weak? Or has, now you could change the Quran ayats. Man has been, you can change such translations. You know, the Muslims. You see, they say an old dog will never learn a new trick. Right? An old dog will not learn a new trick. So if you're old, also, that I have to see. What is which age group you come into? Because if you're a very senior Muslim, then you will not. You would be as stubborn as ever. Man has been made weak. Quran ayat. Made weak, or did he make himself weak? Doesn't say make himself weak. I would say end all this. I wanted to say what kind. Sometimes like reading the ayats and thinking, It's about Imam Hussein too. Not only the Quran ayats. Not only the Quran ayats. Man is weak in nature because Allah wants to lighten for you your difficulties. And mankind was created weak. Who was he created by? God, right? Oh, this is another blow to the Muslims, but they don't see it. To Islam. You see, then he says that my word will come true, like I'm testing you people. You are the most powerful. You could have stopped Shaitan rather than give him respite and test for what? The Shia say, oh, this whole kainat, everything. Because Rasulullah was made for Rasulullah. So people can go to hell because they deserve it. Like those who have, those Hindus who have, okay, lied here and there, but they have not, you know, what I will, this is me. What is this I will? Sorry, I didn't get you. This is me. What is this I will? So Allah wants to lighten for you your difficulties, and mankind was created weak. Tell me, how has He lightened your difficulty? By making you marry your adopted son's wives, ex-wives? He's made it comfortable by, okay, you might break your oaths. That's, you can give kafara. You can, you know, give, what's that English word for it? Huh? This is me. Please tell me what I will. What I will. You will leave Islam? Speak clearly, please. Express yourself clearly here. Mankind was created weak. Here. I think I'm going to put you on timeout. So here we have Surah, where am I? Surah Nisa, Surah Sajda 13. Had He willed, He could have easily imposed guidance on every soul. You mean to say you will be stubborn? And you will kill apostates? And you will harass them? And you will use all tactics, lies? This is me, who I timed out. Once, I think she or he wants to say that he will or she will be stubborn. She cannot or he cannot have anyone. That's what she or he, they mean. Through lies also, through lying, not coming to reason with the Quran ayats, seeping through them, because we haven't got the truth on the golden platter. If this is me saying, I will be stubborn. This is the plight of some Muslims, unfortunately. And stubbornness, God says, arrogance and stubbornness, don't you think go hand in hand? Where God made Shaitan stubborn. He will not give up. For your own loss, to tell you the truth. You're just a liar then. A stubborn liar, not willing to learn, not willing to accept the truth against yourselves, your religion. Wasn't that the way of Shaitan? Departing from reason. And not only that, seeping through truth, through the Quran ayats and through the this thing, hadiths and tafsirs, where to put the hadiths in to say this is wrong, this is not justifiable. So this is me. To your own loss, if you meant I will, meaning you will be stubborn. So kill and be stubborn and bring people, force people to come to this religion, coax them, cajole them from all sides like Satan would, like we are told in the Quran, Satan has done. You are the criminals. So act like criminals and act like Shaitan, who says, I will come, I will attack them. I will not give up. I will attack them from all sides and see who is grateful. I will attack them from all sides. I shall attack them from all directions, and you will not find many of them giving you thanks. Surah Araf, verse 17. There are people better than me who have forgiven their enemies And they don't want their enemies to burn. You know, burn in hell. I know of these some Catholic saints. Saint Lawrence was roasted, I think. Yeah, Saint Lawrence. There was a Hindu sage at the time of Mughals. He was harassed so badly. He was harmed by the Muslims. So I wish I could reach that place. Don't look at me, but I assure you there are Hindus who have been harassed by Muslims, not only Christians, but Hindus. And they have never given up on their God. Oppression on Hindus. Encyclopedia Britannica. Legacy of the Mughal dynasty. The Mughals built one of the greatest empires of their time and had a lasting. Okay, Nissan. I'm actually no copyright infringement intended. Uh, Indian history and culture, lasting influence on Indian history and culture. The dynasty was notable for it more than 2 centuries of effective rule over much of India, for the ability of its rulers, and for its administrative organization. The Mughal emperors notably promoted art, learning, Mughal architecture, a lot they did, but intolerance and oppression. Mughal emperors were known for reconciling with the peoples they conquered and including them in the government and military. However, in the latter decades of the empire, Mughal emperors became more autocratic and intolerant. Hindus and other groups were regarded as inferiors, excluded from Mughal court, and heavily taxed. Religious intolerance led to the destruction of Hindu and Sikh temples and schools. These policies were created widespread. Resentment and rebellion against the Mughals fragmented their kingdom and greatly weakened their rule. There was a sage, I keep forgetting his name, who did like, what was his name? All these, if Mughals were indeed oppressive towards, why wasn't? I mean, some of the Muslims surprisingly would not even want to, accept this. They were good for themselves. They were very economic and affluent. atrocities on Hindu women during Islamic invasion and rule in India. They can't accept the contradictions and how difficult it is to show. Because I can't even reach some fraudulent people I've known. I have no idea how this I was allowed, and because death, it's death when you don't allow people the freedom to search their own truth. It's death when you impose things on them. You have killed people in not only like physically, but spiritually you've killed them. Muslims, for the stubbornness. Very stubborn. They will not have it any other way. And I can't reach even Pakistanis. I had to flee from Pakistan. Fraudulent beings, fraudulent people, you know how they flee? I mean, they absconders. They are absconders. They do fraud, they run away, they get away with murder, toying with lives, stealing. There's been no law and order in Pakistan. So you cannot do your will against the apostates. One day the apostates are going to get you. Then you will be crying that zulm is happening on us. You see, I'm doing this. Maybe some other ex-Muslim will say, why? Human rights. Freedom of religion. Where's human rights, freedom of religion? You can be stubborn and, if you will, hold on to your religion. Open your own channel and praise your religion. Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief and freedom. Thank goodness, European Court of Human Rights. I cannot say how grateful I am for this. I wish I could seek refuge somewhere else then. Even though a European poor country, but lower my needs and live there. But to have that freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, very important for me. I haven't eaten like what, but I'm doing this. One meal a time or two meal. This is very important for me. Please don't impose your religion on others and don't make them go back to the religion without reason when they have found a reason to let go of this. Not falsely accusing Prophet Muhammad, but seeping through. please maintain this and please spread this freedom around. Freedom of thought, conscious, and religion. If you think for this we want the majority have become immoral and the society has become immoral, no. I don't think you should look at it that way. I think the worst oppression is to keep a person in a religion which he or her reason does not agree to anymore and does not see truth in it, does not see truth in that religion. That's one of the worst oppressions you can do to them because they're living, or it's like, um, I don't want to use a metaphor, but it's one of the worst oppressions you're doing to that individual, that person, that society, and those people. Thank you very much. I hope to see someone out there who is a good person, who is honest, who will come with their true name, honesty, and for learning purpose. And then, as we learn, as I share my findings, that you see this with a level headed, civilized way, and you make life easy for me when I'm not also feeling well, that I might suspect you're someone, you might trigger something in me when I'm not feeling well. So please don't do it, as I kept saying. That look, I've become like this, but it doesn't mean that all the atheists are bad people or who have left their religion. All apostates are bad people, that they curse and abuse and all this. No, they don't curse, they might abuse, but some religious people curse also. So I think that the Muslims uh, can have their religion as long as you don't infringe upon other people's rights to choose the religion or change their religion. And please cooperate with me. How many times am I going to say I'm not well? You see, the my head gets cracked. Starts again that thing, force of abuse comes. So before I say something in that madness that you trigger here, with giving me a hard time, as it is, I'm really not feeling well. The reason why I'm saying this is not because I just want you to understand. Let's see, I'm appealing to you. You see, so if you would, someone is appealing to you. Let's say I say, let's have a helpline. Like later on, I was like, that's really great. Sri Ravi Shankar ji said this. Like, if you feel like, we were like, let's open that line for you, helpline. If you feel like stealing, and you will be anonymous, but you can call someone and say, today I feel really like a monster. No, I feel like I want to steal this. That's just a thought. You can reach out to a psychiatrist on that line, or social worker. So when I'm telling you that due to this madness, the great abuse that I've never ever wanted in my life, I wanted to be a good person. It's compelled me to do, right? So can you please be cooperative with a mentally challenged person, which I think has come out of us, the black magic and people's ill will and society, some of whatever around the environment. So someone is telling you, please be cooperative. Like, Sri Sri Ravi Shankarji, Art of Living, they go to prison. They go and talk with criminals. What is their cry? They feel that they've been wronged. Some of them feel they need compassion. They need an understanding heart, someone to go there, understand, listen to them. So please don't test me in that. If you want to, you can. Because, you don't want to cooperate. You don't want to make this world a better place. You want to give people a hard time. It's your thing. But I will not stop. Like Dr. Deepak Chopra, Oprah Winfrey, they did a 21-day challenge, a meditation challenge, gave us free online. They're doing this global family thing, understanding hearts. Along with this, want to see honest, understanding hearts who want to learn. If they want to learn with me, as I share my findings here on the Quran ayats and how to go about it, sometimes our emotions come out. Like, I wish I could pull you out of this religion, as I have pulled myself out of this religion. So when you see truth and when you see falsehood, you go to the truth and you stay away from falsehood. So this, I feel that God himself, Surah Sajda, ayat 13, did not do the right thing. If this is the true God, that he left the soul unguided, every soul its guidance. If we had willed, we could have given every soul its guidance. Why not? Why not to save every soul? Instead of testing them, of course, if you come here and test me and you think you're God, even though this kind of a God I disapprove of, testing human beings when they are created weak. God has said, and if you're going to test, who do you think you are here? God? Or the Messenger of Allah? Or his Mu'min followers? Think about it. Who are you here? To be so stubborn, to give such a hard time to people. When the person is screaming out loud every time that please be cooperative, please be civilized. If you want to learn, come here. If you don't want to learn, and you don't go with reasons, because as it is, it's very hard for me to point out this is falsehood. This is, the Quran is a false Quran, fake Quran. Prophet Muhammad is a false prophet. God should have guided every soul. And then it was up to them. If the Guru, if the Master is pointing to your inside, your soul, which has guidance, not be enslaved to, if you don't want to be enslaved. And that, like I would say, slave to love. I would be a slave to love and not think it's slavery. So, if you don't, but there should be something in the soul, guidance in the soul for every human being. Then if they will, they should have the freedom. But guidance should be inside, first and foremost, in the self, in the soul. Someone who can come and point out to you that there is a God and give you evidence beyond reasonable doubt of his existence. Because there are people suffering. Maybe atheists saw people suffering, so much evil in this world. Evil, yes, I've also seen. Evil prevails here. Where's God? That's why they became atheists, if they weren't from the very beginning. They feel there's no God. And this just, you know, because they have such high expectations of God on earth. How could God allow people to suffer, children to suffer? He must have given us something inside. That if we search Him out inside truly, sincerely, even when we are wounded, when we are scarred, when we are betrayed, when we are trampled upon, we have the feeling of contentment, of gratitude, of contentment. Thank you. I will continue later.